Chimwe chikomana chasvitsa 70 years. Mungachigesa kuti ndiani? Vipi upi? Magona.
At the ZANU-PF Central Committee meeting, President Mnangagwa led a birthday song for Vice President Constantino Chiwenga. But that's not the real story. The real story is what happened after that. According to accounts from the meeting, some members raised the issue of aligning the ZANU-PF party calendar to the new CAB3 calendar. In simple terms, they were already talking as if Constitutional Amendment Bill number 3 was a done deal, and the party now needed to adjust its own internal timelines to match the new political calendar created by the bill. That is when President Mnangagwa reportedly referred the matter to Vice President Chiwenga to respond. And Chiwenga's answer was very important. He reportedly told the meeting that there was no need to rush or celebrate because CAB3 had not yet been signed into law. That is the moment we are unpacking today. Because this was not just a procedural correction. This was a political signal. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Zimbabwe's TV. Today, we are not treating this as breaking news. We are analyzing it after the fact, because the deeper meaning of the Central Committee exchange is bigger than the birthday song, bigger than the clapping, and bigger than the surface level smiles. This is about CAB3, this is about 2030, this is about succession. This is about whether ZANU-PF itself is as united behind this constitutional project as it wants the country to believe. Let us begin by clearing one issue that has also caused confusion. Chiwenga's birthday. Many public biographical records list Vice President Constantino Chiwenga's date of birth as 25 August 1956. If that record is correct, then he would not have turned 70 in early July 2026. But we must also be fair, this July birthday celebration did not suddenly appear this year. There are public traces of Chiwenga being celebrated in early July before. His wife has also publicly celebrated him around that date. Party-linked and media references have also treated early July as his birthday period in previous years. So the question is, why do some public records point to August while family, office and party-linked celebrations continue to recognize early July? Maybe the public record is wrong. Maybe July is the date he personally recognizes. Maybe there is another explanation from his early life, liberation history, family records, or official documentation. But for this analysis, the birthday date itself is not the main issue. The main issue is that the birthday celebration happened inside a political room during a political meeting. At the same moment, CAB3 was creating serious political tension. Once a birthday song enters into the ZANU-PF Central Committee, it stops being just a birthday song. It becomes political theater. Mnangagwa leading that song was meant to send a message. It presented an image of warmth. It presented an image of unity. It presented an image that the president and vice president are together, that the party is one family, and that there is no serious internal fracture over the direction of the country. But then came the discussion about aligning the party calendar to CAB3. That is where the script changed. Because the people raising that issue were not merely asking an administrative question. They were asking the party to begin behaving as if CAB3 was already operational. And that matters. CAB3 is not a small amendment. It goes to the heart of Zimbabwe's political future. It extends terms from 5 years to 7 years. It changes the election calendar. It alters the route to the presidency by moving away from direct presidential election by the people and placing parliament at the center of choosing the president. A parliament that we all know is controlled by parties. So, when ZANU-PF members ask about aligning the party calendar to CAB3, they are not just asking about dates. They are asking whether the party should now start reorganizing itself around a new political architecture. They are asking whether ZANU-PF should now accept that the 2030 agenda has become the new operating framework. And that is why Chiwenga's response matters. He reportedly said there was no need to celebrate because the bill had not yet been signed into law. The statement did two things. First, it reminded the room of the legal position. Parliament may have passed the bill, but until presidential assent is given, it is not law. Second, it stopped the political momentum. It told the room not to behave as if the matter was already fully settled. That is the important point. Chiwenga was not randomly interrupting people. He was responding to a specific issue, whether the party should align itself to the CAB3 calendar before the bill had become law. His answer was, not yet. That is a powerful answer in that context. Because the pro-CAB3 camp wants to project finality. They want to say the bill has passed, the numbers are there, Parliament has spoken, and now everybody must fall into line. But Chiwenga's response introduced caution. It said the process is not complete. It said the party must not move ahead of the law. It said the celebration is premature. Now, the most interesting part is that Mnangagwa reportedly referred the question to Chiwenga. Mnangagwa could have answered the matter himself. He is the president. CAB3 now awaits his signature. If anyone could have given a direct political answer, it was him. But according to the accounts, he directed the vice president to respond. That opens a serious political question. Was this simply routine delegation? Or did Mnangagwa refer the question to Chiwenga because Chiwenga himself remains central to the internal discussions around CAB3? That is where the analysis becomes interesting. It may suggest that Chiwenga is not just a passive observer in this process. He may still be one of the key figures whose position matters before the final political step is taken. In other words, Chiwenga may be part of the internal hurdle that still has to be managed. That does not mean he controls the president's signature. It does not mean he has veto power. It does not mean there is open war between the two men. But it does suggest that CAB3 is politically sensitive at the very top. If the issue was completely settled inside ZANU-PF, there would be no drama in aligning the party calendar. The leadership would simply say, proceed. But instead, the answer was caution. And the caution came from Chiwenga. That is why this moment should not be reduced to gossip. It is not just Chiwenga embarrassed Mnangagwa. It is not just birthday song backfired. Those are good headlines. But the deeper issue is this. ZANU-PF members were already preparing to adjust the party to CAB3, and Chiwenga told them the law was not yet complete. That tells us that the bill may have passed through Parliament, but the politics around it are not yet finished. Now, let us talk about the birthday song. The birthday song matters because of timing and symbolism. If Mnangagwa sings for Chiwenga in the same meeting where CAB3 is being treated as the new political calendar, the image is very convenient. It says, look, there is no problem between the president and vice president. It says, the succession rumors were exaggerated. It says, look, the party is united even as it moves towards 2030. But Chiwenga's answer complicated that image. Because the men being celebrated did not simply sit there and rubber stamp the mood. When the CAB3 calendar issue came up, he reminded the room that the bill was not law. And there was a huge silence in the room, which spoke volumes. That is what makes the birthday song look politically awkward. They sang for him, but it did not give them the answer that would allow a full CAB3 victory lap. They honored him in public, but he still drew a line around the process. They presented unity, but his answer showed caution. And in ZANU-PF politics, caution is often where the real message hides. Nobody needs to shout for a signal to be understood. Nobody needs to say, I oppose this directly. Sometimes, the most powerful political statement is to slow down what others are rushing to celebrate. That is what Chiwenga did, according to their accounts. He slowed the room down. He reminded them that CAB3 had not yet crossed the final line. He forced the party to distinguish between parliamentary approval and actual law. And that distinction is important for the country too, because a constitution is not a party document. A constitution is not a ZANU-PF timetable. A constitution is not supposed to be adjusted casually inside a party meeting as if the people are secondary. CAB3 affects the whole nation. It affects how the president is chosen. It affects whether citizens continue to directly vote for the head of the state or whether that power shifts into parliament. So, when party members begin asking how ZANU-PF should align itself to CAB3 before assent, Zimbabweans are entitled to ask, why is the ruling party moving faster than the constitutional process itself? That is why Chiwenga's answer matters beyond factional politics. It reminded everyone that law has stages. It reminded everyone that there is a difference between a party expectation and a constitutional reality. And it reminded everyone that even inside ZANU-PF, not everyone is prepared to behave as if CAB3 is already fully settled. Now, some people say Chiwenga was only stating the obvious. Yes, legally he was stating the obvious. But politically, stating the obvious at the right moment can be explosive. Everyone in that room already knew the bill had not yet been signed. But the question is, why did that fact need to be emphasized? It needed to be emphasized because some people were already moving emotionally and politically into the post-CAB3 era. They were already speaking as if the new timetable had arrived. They were already preparing the party calendar around it. Chiwenga's response stopped that assumption. And that is why the room reportedly became tense. Because this is not a debate about stationery and schedules. This was a debate about power. CAB3 is linked to the 2030 agenda. Whether its supporters admit it or not, many Zimbabweans understand the bill through the succession question. They see it as a way of extending the current political arrangement, changing the rules, and managing who has the clearest path to State House. That is why Chiwenga's position matters. He is not just another official. He is a vice president with military history, liberation credentials, and a central role in the post-2017 political order. His silence or caution carries weight because people see him as one of key figures in the succession debate. That is why even when he preaches casually about Hezekiah and preaches casually about Lazarus, there are too many interpretations that emanate from those sermons. So, when Mnangagwa refers the CAB3 calendar question to Chiwenga, and Chiwenga responds by saying the bill is not yet law, that becomes politically loaded. It suggests that the leadership may still be managing sensitivities around the final step. It suggests that behind the public confidence of the pro-CAB3 camp, there may still be internal caution. That is the story. Not wild speculation, not conspiracy, but a careful reading of what happened. A question was asked. Mnangagwa referred it to Chiwenga. Chiwenga slowed it down. That is enough to analyze. And what it tells us is that CAB3 may have passed parliament, but it has not yet secured political peace. The legal process and the political process are not always the same. Legally, the next issue is presidential assent. Politically, the next issue is whether the factions inside ZANU-PF accept what CAB3 seeks to bring about as change. Those are two different battles. A president can sign a bill, but signing a bill does not automatically heal the party. Signing a bill does not automatically end succession tension. Signing a bill does not automatically create legitimacy in the eyes of the public. And signing a bill does not erase the fact that one of the most powerful men in the room reportedly told the party not to rush the celebration. That is why this meeting matters. It gives us a window into the mood behind the curtain. On the surface, ZANU-PF wants to show discipline. It wants to show unity. It wants to show that CAB3 is moving smoothly. But this exchange suggests the movement is not as smooth as the public messaging suggests. The party may have numbers in parliament, but numbers are not the same as consensus. The party may control the legislative process, but control is not the same as comfort. The party may sing together, but a song is not the same as agreement. So, the most important moment was not the song. The most important moment came when the party wanted to align itself to CAB3. Mnangagwa referred the issue to Chiwenga, and Chiwenga told them the bill was not yet law. That is the story. They wanted to move the party calendar forward. Chiwenga pulled them back to the legal reality. They wanted to behave as if CAB3 was already settled. Chiwenga reminded them, not yet. And in politics, especially ZANU-PF politics, not yet can be a very loud message, because it means the celebration is premature. It means the process is incomplete. It means the issue is still alive. It means those who think CAB3 has already closed the succession debate may be celebrating too early. The birthday song was loud, but Chiwenga's answer was louder. CAB3 has passed parliament, but it is not yet law. And judging by the Central Committee exchange, it may also not yet be politically settled. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Zimbabwe TV. Please subscribe, share this video, and let's discuss in the comment section.